You want me behind this mic?
Yeah, this will work. Is that alright, everybody?
Or up here? What do you prefer?
Back where you were just.
Back here? Okay. All right. Ready? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Johnson. I'm an attorney with the law firm Osborne and Francis. To my left is Orville Johnson and my co-counsel Althea Bryant Farr. We're here because we are trying to get answers that address the circumstances behind Justin's untimely death on April the 26th. Before I go to that date, I want to talk a little bit about Justin before I turn it over to his dad at the very end. Justin, as you know, he was 16 when he passed away. He would have been 17 yesterday. Justin moved here from Jamaica in January of 2023, and he became a U.S. citizen, and he was excited about getting acclimated with the community. As some of you may know, the national sport in Jamaica is soccer. All right. Justin didn't want to play on a soccer team. He wanted to acclimate and play on probably the most American sport there is, football. That's indigenous to this country. And Justin was going to be trying out for the football team. He went to the gym almost daily. And that's what Justin was trying to do. He wanted to be accepted. He wanted to be part of a community here in Harrisburg. So let me take you, before I talk about Friday, let me take you to what happened on Monday. Okay, last week, Monday. In the evening, Justin and his father are downstairs in the basement, and the doorbell rings. Justin's dad comes upstairs, opens the door, and there is a teenager outside who is looking for Justin. Justin comes upstairs. He has a very, very brief conversation with this person, and he ends up following his dad downstairs. His dad was asking, what was that about? And Justin said, I don't really want to hang out with him, and he declined and ended up spending the evening with his dad. On Friday, the night of the subject incident, there were repeated times when individuals came to the front door, and they parked their vehicles right in front of where we are now, behind you on the opposite side of the road. There are about 3 vehicles there. And you could see on one of these videos that one of these individuals had, we're not sure what it is, but it's a white, looks like a gun. It could be a pellet gun, could be a taser, could be something more innocent like a water gun. We're really not sure what that is. But you see them coming here multiple times. And through the app that Justin's dad had installed here, the security footage, Justin could communicate with them from anywhere. And he happened to be home, but he told them, I'm not home. And you can hear them say on the video, we can see you through the window, come outside, come outside. And they're trying to get Justin to come outside for whatever reason. Justin doesn't go. Finally, after multiple attempts to get Justin to come outside, Justin gives in, and he comes outside. As he is walking towards the 3 cars behind you with another individual in front of him, someone jumps from behind one of the vehicles. You can't see him as they're walking. He jumps out and he starts chasing Justin down this area right here. You can see where that area is kind of steep. 2 of them are chasing Justin down this area. And you hear one person say something to the effect of, get him, get this on video. And then Justin finally makes it down to an area where they stopped going. And one of them says, well, where the F did he run to? And one person says, he ran to effing Africa. Justin remains down here until, we believe, when he thought the coast was clear. He walks all the way down to that first home on the right, comes all the way up the road and back down again before he comes back inside. He doesn't want to engage with these individuals anymore. What we don't know from that video footage is whether one of them had some kind of a weapon in his hand. It's our belief that when Justin saw this person jump out and start to run towards him, there was something in his hand that Justin saw as a threat. and Justin ran away to try and get away from that threat, and ended up down on that embankment that you see there. At this point in time, well, before I get to the questions that we have, Justin comes back inside and calls his dad, and tells his dad that he had to run away from some boys who were chasing him. He didn't elaborate on what was going on, and Justin's dad said, "Look, I'm almost home from work." He makes it home maybe about 45 minutes after that call and finds Justin dead. He doesn't know Justin is dead at the time. He thought Justin just wasn't answering his phone when he called him multiple times. He called 911. CPR was attempted. He was taken to Hershey Hospital, where unfortunately they were not able to revive him. We have several questions about what was going on that night. We don't know, number one, why these boys were specifically targeting Justin, right? They started off trying to get him to come outside from Monday, and multiple attempts on Friday the 26th to get him to come outside. We don't know if that person was carrying a weapon who was chasing Justin. We believe he was, because when you watch the video and see how fast Justin ran away, it's our belief that he was in fear and there was something that person had in his hand that looked like a weapon. We don't know the extent of the knowledge that the school may have known about this game that maybe kids were playing. We don't know if this was part of some kind of a hazing ritual that the football team may have had, because remember, Justin wants to be on the football team, and we believe that the individuals who came to the home were part of the football team. Those are questions we don't know. The other thing that we started talking about recently is we also don't know if this had anything to do with this new craze apparently on TikTok called Senior Assassin. It's supposed to be a game that involves individuals trying to tag other individuals with water guns or pellet guns or paintball guns. This incident, or this game, became such an issue that there were multiple news articles that were published going back to last year, May. I believe the York Daily News, if I have the media name correct, published something saying that, listen, this is a very, very dangerous game. Police officers started warning the public about this Senior Assassin game, because if you're playing this game, what was happening was people were calling 911 thinking that there was a crime occurring, because they see people dressed in hoodies, they see people carrying weapons that they think are real guns, and we believe that's something that Justin saw when that person jumped out from that vehicle and ran towards him. So we don't know exactly what happened, but these are the questions that we have, and we're hoping that we can get some answers during the investigation. Our goal here is to be completely transparent with local law enforcement. I've already spoken with one of the detectives. We're planning to meet that detective after today's press conference before Miss Bryant Farr and I fly back to Florida. But we want to be completely transparent. We've turned over the video footage of what I just described to the police officers. We're going to be speaking with them, and our hope is that this is not an open and shut case. There are too many questions out there that need to be answered, not just for Mr. Johnson and his family, but for the community on a whole. Because if there's a dangerous game going out there that are putting putting kids' lives in danger, I think it's something the community should know. I want to speak specifically about, we don't have the autopsy report yet, but I want to talk about the findings that were communicated to Mr. Johnson by the coroner's office. One of the findings in the 16-year-old boy is that he had cardiomyopathy, all right? And we've been doing some research. Credit to Miss Bryant Farr. She is not only an attorney, but she's also a trained ICU nurse. And we've been looking into this condition. It's called broken heart syndrome. And it's a condition where if you have sudden fear or sudden fright, it can cause your muscles in the heart to weaken, and that can compromise your breathing system or your respiratory system. That's exactly what may have happened here. Justin was so frightened when that person jumped out of the vehicle and may have perceived what he thought to be a weapon, that in no time when he gets back home and he finishes speaking with his father, he's probably dead because he's not getting enough oxygen to perfuse his blood, and he ends up passing away. That's one of the theories that we have. We're going to look into it. As I mentioned before, we want to know if the school board knew about what happened, because I want to touch on what other communities have done to educate their members about this supposed game, right? The Virginia school board sent out notification to parents about this game to say, you need to talk to your parents about how dangerous this is. And if you'll allow me, I want to read specifically what they said in that notification to those parents. They said, in stressful or high pressure situations, it can be very difficult to quickly differentiate a toy gun from a real firearm. This confusion can lead to misidentification and potentially tragic consequences. And we may have experienced here in Harrisburg one of those tragic consequences as a result of this so-called game. We have turned over Justin's cell phone to the police department. They will be getting consent from us to go through his phone because, again, we're trying to get answers. And we believe that his death warrants a full investigation, again, not just to provide answers to the Johnson family, but to educate the Harrisburg community and the communities beyond, so we can keep our children safe. With that being said, I want to turn it over to Orville Johnson to talk about who Justin was and what we would like to remember Justin as he was living the brief 16, almost 17 years of his life. Mr. Johnson.
My name is Orville Johnson, and I'm gutted at this point because I lose the most important person in my life at this point. And I would really like for the community and surrounding to know that it's not all the kids they see walking around looking normal is normal. They might be going through stuff that is not readily identified. So just asking please to protect our kids. And I know what I'm saying won't bring Justin back, but all I can imagine is Justin. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any questions?
Rick, how do you end up holding people accountable? Do you think this needs to be a criminally prosecuted case, and if that doesn't end up going that way, do you intend to hold people accountable through the civil way?
So, as I explained to, or as we explained to Mr. Johnson earlier on today, we're differentiating for him the criminal context and the civil context. As far as the criminal context is concerned, that's between law enforcement and the district attorney's office here. Okay, we're hoping that the thorough investigation that they are going to engage in is going to provide some evidence where they can look at it carefully and decide whether that's the appropriate road to go down. It's not something that we have any control over, other than being transparent with law enforcement. As far as civil accountability is concerned, we just don't know yet. We're not there. At this point in time, as I was explaining again to Mr. Johnson today, our first and primary role is to educate the public on what happened. This isn't a simple game of, quote, tag. There's more to it. This shouldn't be an open and shut case. If the evidence that the police officers are able to gather lead us down the road to say, well, this person or this entity should be accountable for what happened, we'll certainly explore that possibility.
A lot has been talked about the racial aspect of this case. I think everybody's heard the comments that were made on that video.
Yep.
Are you concerned about what was said there, and that this may have been motivated because of it?
I am concerned. It's not something I can turn a blind eye to. It was said. It was very, very audible on the video. And that's one of the questions that we want to have answered. Why was Justin specifically targeted? Does it have something to do with his race? Again, is this a hazing ritual? We don't know. But again, we're advocating for a full and complete and thorough investigation to reveal whether that may have played a role. If it did, we'll certainly look into it and see what needs to be done. But yes, I am certainly upset about what we heard on that video footage.
Had Justin been bullied because of his race?
I don't think that's something that Mr. Johnson was aware of. You can speak more to it, but that's something you and I talked about, and I don't think you had any indication he was.
I'm not 100% sure. He never complained about bullying except for one time in his PE class, and the teacher that just did it. But my complaint is, I think they target Justin because where he lived at. Because if you notice, I have much neighbor around, and nobody would actually see what happening. So I don't know if that would be from a racial standpoint or it's just a situation. It's just a football situation.
You spoke earlier about transparency, and that's really important from all angles of this. How transparent are police being with you guys about what they've dug up yet, or are they keeping you every step of the way? Are they kind of holding back for a moment? Or tell us a little bit about interaction with.
So I spoke for the first time with one of the detectives yesterday. We had a very good conversation. I told him I was coming here today, and we're trying to make arrangements to meet before we leave. But we have to look at this in context, right? Today is day 5 of Justin's passing. We're certainly not expecting a high-speed train type of an investigation. We know these things take time. We're going to be patient and allow law enforcement to do what they do. But so far, I don't have any issues with any transparency or lack of transparency at all from local law enforcement. Again, we hope we can meet with them today before we leave, but we have an open line of communication.
Just some clarification. The updated police report says that Justin was not, or at least the surveillance video showed Justin was not being chased. He wasn't harmed, or any distress was presented for Justin. And they did call it a game of tag. Clarification, you don't believe that this was a game of tag?
So let me speak to that for a couple minutes. These are teenagers in high school, right? Let's put our common sense hats on for a few minutes. I don't know of any 16, 15, 17-year-old who is playing what we know as an innocent game of tag, which maybe I played the last time when I was 5 or 6 years old, where you're literally running and you're just touching someone. It couldn't be, because you can hear one of them saying, "Get it on video," right? Are you going to come to someone's home 3-4 days prior, right? And there's one thing I left out, right? After this incident happened and Mr. Johnson is looking through his surveillance footage from that Monday night, it wasn't one person who was at the front door. Apparently there were 3 or 4 that were hiding right there to the left of the porch. So they had planned this from Monday to try and get him. This is not an innocent game of tag. As far as him not being chased, well, the video speaks for itself. He definitely ran down here, and you have a live view of where he went.
Wow,
when he
they
came
saw him on Monday.
when he came up, this is minutes after him running down this embankment occurred, because remember, he walked all the way that way up here, came back down, and came home. No, he wasn't actively being chased then, but our understanding is that that sudden fright triggered some kind of a reaction, and it ended up leading to his untimely passing.
What is the name of that app or game that you spoke of?
It's called Senior Assassin, but the euphemism for Senior Assassin is tag, apparently. So is that definitely what happened? I want to be clear that we're not making any conclusions now. These are just questions that we have, and it's something that we believe needs to be investigated. Because if that's really what was happening, people need to know so they can speak to their children and we can keep our community safe.
I know you
No, nothing since. And look,
The
to the...
principal has stopped by.
I'm sorry?
The principal
Oh,
has stopped.
apparently the principal stopped by.
Yeah, him and his guidance counselor, they came to visit.
Principal and the guidance counselor came by to visit, but nothing specific, right?
No, they didn't
Just-
anything on the case. They just came to support.
Pay their respects. But you know, look, when they issued that statement, I think it was maybe 2 days after Justin had passed away, where we're still in that investigative stage, right? And I think one of the issues that were circulating on social media at the time was the comment that was made, where if he had ran back to effing Africa, and that of course incensed people, understandably so. And so I believe that they, you know, issued that statement to try to quell things. But I think as if more facts are developed, we're going to hear more and more about this silent assassin, or I'm sorry, senior assassin game that apparently is being circulated on TikTok. And I strongly believe that's the reason why they wanted to get this footage on video so they could post it. Why they were specifically targeting Justin, we're not sure. No communication with the DA so far, and I'm hoping that through this press conference, and I actually sent an article about senior assassin to one of the detectives today. I'm hoping that this new development will maybe pump the brakes on closing this investigation and have them realize that there's more to it, particularly again from a community safety standpoint.
And you mentioned that you had traveled here to pick up this case. How did you learn about this case, and why pick up an out-of-state case as well?
So my firm handles cases all over the country, not just in this arena, but medical malpractice, products liability. But it's funny how a close community can lead you to distant areas. I've known Miss Bryant Farr for a number of years. She's a practicing attorney in Florida, and it just so happens that she is Orville Johnson's cousin. And so when this event happened, she reached out to me because she knew that my firm did this kind of work, and that's how we ended up here.
Did the teenagers who showed up here on Friday know that Orville was not home? And what do you think that says about the fact that they were willing to wait days just for this opportunity?
Exactly, that's a great point. When they came on Monday, right? So Mr. Johnson is a small business owner, okay? And he had his work truck here on Monday when they came the first time. And he answered the door on Monday. When they came back on Friday, his work truck was not parked outside. And so that's why I believe they kept coming back to the door, ringing the doorbell and saying, "Justin, we see you, come outside," continuously trying to lure him outside. So I think, yeah, that goes to their mentality that they wanted to accomplish whatever it is that they set out to do Friday night, and they had the perfect opportunity to do so, thinking that Justin's dad wasn't home.
Mr. Orville, the police say that Justin called you to let you know that these kids were chasing after him. Can you describe what his demeanor was? Was he panicked? Was he scared? What did he sound like when he was talking to you?
It didn't sound abnormal at the time. That's why I didn't think anything of it. And he told me he ran very fast, that's for sure. And I know he had explained the possibility of running fast and what will happen. So at that time I really wasn't, because I was out, I wasn't really could. It's just, I never get anything to say that.
But just remember that by the time Justin calls his dad, right, when he comes back inside and he describes being chased by these individuals, there's enough time that goes by in between him running away from them in that state of fear and that state of panic, to where he ends up walking back home quite a distance, and he's able to then calm down at that point in time in order to make that call. That call didn't take place right after he ran down this embankment.
Because they left his phone
Sometime. That's right. That's right. One of them left his phone because he dropped his phone when he was running down the embankment. So when he realized that the coast was clear and there was no longer a threat and the vehicles had driven away, that's when he came inside and made that phone call.
Have you heard from the families of the boys involved in this?
Nope.
Is there any indication from law enforcement that they've been identified and they're being cooperative?
No indication yet, but that's one of the things that we're hoping that law enforcement will do, which is let's interview these teenagers who were here on Monday and Friday. Let's interview the school officials to see what the extent of their knowledge is of whether this is a hazing ritual or whether this is this senior assassin game. Let's get to the bottom of it. Don't just close the book. There's more to it than someone supposedly playing a game of tag and ends up passing away that evening. There's more to the story, and we'd like to get to the bottom of it.
Do you have any idea how many of these individuals who came here Monday and Friday, and in total, how many people are we talking about?
Yeah, I think so on Monday when one person was at the front door, I think there were 3 who were hiding here, so that's 4. We know that it's 3 cars each time that are parked right there parallel to the home. You could clearly see 2 running, chasing Justin, and maybe the other individual stayed in the car, but we know there were at least 4 on Monday, probably the same group again on Friday.
One person was a knocker.
One was a designated person to knock on the door, right?
3 vehicles between Monday, the same 3 vehicles.
I think there were. Yeah, they looked to be the same ones. Yeah.
The same person knocking at the door each time.
Yes.
Have you identified that person yet? Have you identified the teenagers involved?
I think the names have been circulating on social media.
The name
Yeah.
of the first one, like, I don't know if that's the same person, but I heard somebody say had him. I don't know. That's one of the on the video say had him, get him, had him.
Yeah.
What is your hope is going to come from this investigation? Criminal prosecution, I mean, what's the end result here after everything's said and done?
Well, I think the number one goal is full and complete investigation, right? Let's get to the bottom of what happened. Let's not leave any stones unturned. And then depending on the information that is gathered, then we can reevaluate and say whether we believe this or that should happen. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. At this point in time, what we are calling for, again, is a full and complete and transparent investigation. Don't close the book too soon. There's more to the story.
Schools have ways of, cracking down on student behavior outside of the classroom. Do you think that the school district needs to do more here when it comes to whether people are playing games or hazing that isn't already being done?
So I haven't quite familiarized myself with what has been happening in this area as far as what has been put out there to educate parents. I don't think that this game has been talked about. I don't think it has been publicized. At least I haven't seen it. I've tried to find it, but I haven't seen anything that would lead me to that conclusion. But yeah, just like the Virginia School Board, put out that statement and sent parents letters with that language that I read, that should definitely be communicated. Because look, let's say you don't have another situation that matches what happened with Justin, right? What if you have a group of teenagers who are continuing to play this game? One of them pulls what someone else believes to be a real weapon and that person gets shot. It's dangerous. Again, I don't want to conclude that's what was happening here, but it's something that should be looked into.
And are police aware that that's something that you guys are asking as well? If it's a part of the senior assassin TikTok craze?
As of this morning, yes, because I sent an article that National Fox News had published about this game and about how in different jurisdictions different police departments have been warning kids, teenagers, people to not play this game because of the obvious dangers. So it's out there. It hasn't been publicized as much as we would like it to be, but we're certainly hoping that after today, everybody across America will know about this, and they'll talk to their kids about it, and schools will talk to their students about it. Okay. Thank you.